Do not be discouraged if you keep on being rejected, ghosted, ignored, denied. I had them fleshed out. I had point evidence explained. I had the keywords. Really do not underestimate these things and think, I've had many jobs, I've had many interviews, I'm good at interviews. All of that is true, but in these circumstances, things are a lot different than they used to be. One thing that I think is really important to note is that a healthcare assistant is a whole career in itself. I don't think you should belittle that in any way. Full-time, which is like 36 hours. I don't really know what's happening with the A-levels, but, I can't really put my life on hold because of Gavin Williamson and his changing opinion. Today I wanted to do a video on how I got a job as a healthcare assistant in a surgical ward in a hospital in 2021, and it has been a journey, let's just say that, because the job market from COVID is absolutely terrible. Unemployment is the highest it's been in years, and it's just such a struggle at the moment for thousands of people, millions of people, and it's just hard out here. So I'm just going to give my advice on how to get a job as a HCA, what a HCA is. I'm literally wearing what I was wearing. I had the interview at 11 o'clock and by 4 o'clock I had the job. So, I'm just a great interviewee. Job market is serious, like it's not just CV and go as I was used to. So I just wanted to mention that my friends and I have released a podcast called The Gap Pod, and it's about, gap year life. We've got lots of different topics coming up, and it's just been so fun to record and edit and post. So it's on Spotify, all of the good places you can get your podcasts. So definitely follow us on Instagram and check it out because it will be so exciting. When I was volunteering at the food bank, I was just hearing how people are really struggling on their furlough wage. So there's a lot of people that are really, really struggling, and if that is you, I am so sorry, and I hope that your interview or your job search goes well. When it was lockdown, I was just studying. So after the autumn exams, that's kind of when I thought, let's look into this job market thing. And I have to say, so I've had a job since the age of 13 years old. I was a paper deliverer, and that job was crazy. Like, they had me working hard for £20 a week, every single day, no days off. The route was literally like 10k. Like, I was late for school some days because I had to wake up so early to pick up the papers, rain, shine, snow, winter, and I'd have to go into the old people's home. I'd have to go through dogs. Like, it was crazy. So that was my first job, and I did that until I was like 14 for over a year. I think a year and like 3 months, and all of that money I saved because what expenses do you have as a child? But I think that kind of set me off for a good path because I knew the value of money. And when I opened my bank account, like my own personal debit account, it was very much a flex to have that much at my age. But so then after that I worked in a shop, which I worked in there for ages and ages and ages, and I had loads of shifts, and that was very long. But retail, I think everyone should do so they get used to the situation. Alongside that, I worked in a care home as well as the original job that I had for a year and a few months as well. It was a lot, but all of the jobs that I applied to, I got. I applied, I got it. I applied, I got it. I applied, I got it. I want it, I got it, as Ariana Grande once said. So I wasn't really worried about it. And whenever they say, oh, CV day, it's like, I've already got my CV, it's really perfect, it's already tried and tested, and we out here. And I had all the extracurriculars, like I was a prefect, I did lots of volunteering, etc. So I had all of them and I got the job, so it was great. And then fast forward to December 2020, where I was applying to jobs. On that platform you can make a CV, and I was getting jobs, period, and that was good. But little did I know that would not be good enough in the age of 2020 and a pandemic. So what I ended up doing was going and watching back those CV advice videos and making my own CV that was good and formatted really nicely, and avoiding all of the things that people say not to have. So I made my CV as a PDF using a free template, and then I applied to further jobs. And when I say jobs, I was applying to a lot of jobs, a lot of jobs. I would save all the jobs, I would apply to them, I'd read them, and it was just a lot of effort and, you know, rejection. But with these jobs, they don't even reject you, they just ignore you, they ghost you. Like, ghosting is too normalized in our society, do you not agree? But yeah, so I applied to many jobs. Okay, so I applied to Tesco, an office, a coffee shop for only 5 hours, which wouldn't have been good, a pharmacy, a bakery, B&Q, co-op, a hotel, a restaurant, which I got an interview for, but then realised I didn't want to work there long time, so it wouldn't have been a good idea. Trespass, because I did love camping. I actually applied to be a painter and decorator. So you can tell I kind of got a bit desperate there, but I have got experience painting. If you are applying for a job, just know that right now is not what it's usually like. It is the most competitive it's ever been. Do not be discouraged if you keep on being rejected, ghosted, ignored, denied. And, you know, rejection is redirection, as they love to say. I had a care interview. Everything was on Zoom or Skype or Microsoft Teams. So I think I really learned a lot from the interview process. Personally, I quite like the scenario type interview questions because, you know, you can really tell them what you want to tell them. But for the ones that are more general, the one that threw me off would be, what's your 5-year plan? Because especially in the age of COVID-19, they don't want to hear that you want to apply to university and leave them after having done training. They want to hear that you're really passionate about the company, that you would love to work there, that you see career progression, you want to do extra qualifications there. So onto the healthcare assistant, I thought, you know what, I'm ready for it. Let me apply to be a healthcare assistant. So how you apply to jobs.nhs.uk, and then you can search your city, your hospital that's closest to you, and then healthcare assistant. I just put band 2. You can turn on alerts for this so that you can get notifications when new jobs are released. But one thing about the NHS is that they leave a really long time for each thing to happen. So I applied to one in December and I filled out the NHS CV thing, which is really long, but it's good because you can save it. And the problem that I made is that I didn't write a very long cover letter personal statement part, and I think that is very fair enough and makes sense because it shows, you know, the people that spend the time to write a really long, really detailed cover letter and personal statement are passionate about the job and they deserve a chance to interview. So that was definitely an issue. It was an issue, but once I got the rejection from that, I was like, me? But I realised I literally written like 3 sentences. So the next application I made, I wrote a solid 3 paragraphs and really just adapted my personal statement from medicine, also things how I thought it would be really nice for me to be in a healthcare environment from the current events that are happening. Eventually, once I applied again, I applied to 2 healthcare assistant roles, one with like more mental health and one in a surgical ward. So I had interviews for those. I had one on Monday and one on Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Recruiter, you want someone that's going to be really reliable, really long term, join the family and really progress in that job. But when they asked me what my 5-year plan was, I obviously didn't think to say anything else other than that I'm planning on going to medical school and being a doctor, and I want to work here so that I can get more clinical skills, etc, etc. But after I said that, what the recruiter said was that they had joined that specific job role when they were my age, and then they'd worked there for a few years, and then after loving the profession so much, they entered university in the local university and completed a nursing qualification, and now they're a nurse and they're doing really well. So I was like, wow, that's great. But I also realised that what I had said had not aligned with what they want for the next generation of the career people working there. And I think because it's a really small place, they want like a tight-knit area. So for today, I had the surgical ward, just a normal hospital, and this one I was more nervous for after seeing how the other one hadn't gone the best. It could have gone because I was too honest, but I guess, you know, I just wasn't the right fit for that. They want someone that'll be long-term, which I understand, given the amount of training that you have to have. There was a lot of questions, and I think what I did better today was really flesh out my answers. I had them fleshed out, I had point evidence explain, I had the keywords, I built the relationship with the interviewer, and, you know, I just kind of greeted both people in the room, just really enjoyed my time in the interview. One thing I just emphasise to anyone that's trying to get a job at the moment is that really do not underestimate these things and think, you know, I've had many jobs, I've had many interviews, I'm good at interviews. You know, all of that is true, but in these circumstances, things are a lot different than they used to be, and as they should be, because a lot of people are struggling and unemployed right now. So yeah, it makes sense for them to want to employ someone that's more mature, has more experience as a healthcare assistant. My main advice would be to do a mock interview and to practice talking about yourself in a really multifaceted way. Like, don't just talk about one single thing, like really format your answers so that they fill out a lot of different aspects of your life. As a healthcare professional, you'll be really focusing on the patient, so make sure you're really empathetic and caring, all of that, which is what you need in medicine as well as a healthcare assistant role. And you know, after seeing all of the controversy on Twitter, because Imperial College in London, they were asked to like volunteer in the hospital given there's not enough workers as people are sick at the moment. They wrote a letter saying that they didn't want to do menial tasks like a healthcare assistant, but what came from that was that healthcare assistants are highly trained and they're not really paid as well as they should be, considering that. One thing that I think is really important to note is that a healthcare assistant is a whole career in itself, and you know, there's career progression, there's qualifications that you can get, and I don't think you should belittle that in any way. If you've been in hospital, you've definitely been looked after by a healthcare assistant, your family has, and yeah, it's just really important to respect that and to know that there are people that have been working this their whole life and will continue to work this their whole life, and you shouldn't belittle a job or anything like that. They released an apology for using the word menial, which is like, you know, kind of disrespectful. I hope this has helped anyone out there who's wanting to do this. One thing I should say is that the contract is full-time, which is like 36 hours, and that is 12-hour shifts. So it is very intense, but I think in the NHS is long shifts for the continuity of care for all of the patients, and it benefits the patients because they have people that know of them more. I don't really know what's happening with A-levels, but you know, I can't really put my life on hold because of Gavin Williamson and his changing opinions. So hopefully by the time exams are cancelled or not cancelled or whatever happens, I'll be able to balance studying as well. But yeah, I'm just happy that I have a job now, especially something related to healthcare, because I had interviews for retail shops but they were cancelled because of lockdown. I think this will be really valuable for my development as a person, as a medical student, as everything. It is exciting period. So thanks for watching. This has covered how to do your CV, how to get your interview, and what to do in your interview and how my interview went. So I guess that's like 7 videos I could have done in one, but anyway, I hope this has been helpful to anyone that is looking for a job in these COVID-19 times, and that you can all be successful and get that tick and not that rejection. As they say, rejection is redirection. And yeah, please check out our podcast, The Gap Pod, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!